And so we were just talking about working with investors, and I have to tell you that, yes, we work with brand new investors and coach them on how to invest. We work with seasoned investors that are doing, literally dozens of transactions a month. I worked with basically the lead home flipper out of Vegas for about a year before he just got tired of the Charleston market and said it just wasn't the same, and decided to back out of it. But we understand that process really well. But what I want to talk about is how important communication is. Because, like, as an example, if we're working with an investor, that investor needs to understand that, hey, if I bring you a deal, if we have an open and honest conversation about your investment criteria, and we understand it to the point where I should be able to bring you a deal, and so long as it fits your investment criteria, the answer should almost always be, yes, write the offer at this price, because at this price, at these terms, this is a green light investment that fits the criteria. We need to know where that bar is. Can we go all the way up to that bar and still have that investment make sense? I'll tell you that if we bring you a deal that is in line with your investment criteria and you drag your feet on it, that's really only going to happen once with us. We'll give you one more crack at it. But the reality is this, and this is why communication is so important between agents and consumers. I'm just going to call them consumers, buyers, sellers, or investors. If I bring you a deal that is a great investment, my ability to provide you with that opportunity is extremely short-lived, because those deals do not last, especially in a market like this. I have a very short window of opportunity to represent the investor to get that deal. And if you're the type of investor that doesn't really have confidence in the process yet, or doesn't really understand what separates a good investment from a poor investment, and how to analyze and interpret and how we present those opportunities, then you're not going to get very many opportunities. Again, this is just me being honest. We don't have very long to wrap up a deal with that seller before somebody else gets involved, and then we all lose. So as an investor, one of the questions I ask is really just, I take a temperature check. How soon are you ready to start investing? What sort of information do you need? And how can I help fill those gaps in misinformation or lack of understanding about the market, so that we can truly be able to say to one another, hey, Brian, I want you to go out there and I want you to identify and I want you to analyze and present investment properties. I'm not just sending you a link to a property saying, hey, what do you think about this one? I'm sending you a spreadsheet, a breakdown, an investment analysis on that property to say, hey, this one's getting a 30% after-tax ROI. This is a slam dunk. You can go up to this purchase price and still achieve your required rate of return. I suggest you offer X. Are you in or out? If we're not getting responses from investors on deals like that, and honestly, if you're a seasoned investor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's really no excuse for not responding to a great investment quickly. And if you're using real estate agents as your lead source, as the way that you find these opportunities and you drag your feet on those opportunities, then it just is what it is. We're going to find the folks that are ready, willing, and able to do something about them, or I'm just going to buy them myself. That's just the harsh reality, and that's where communication becomes so important. And all these folks that we work with that have worked with agents in the past, if they have a bad taste in their mouth about the process or about us as an industry, it almost always revolves around lack of communication, lack of understanding of the goals, and just lack of respect. If somebody hires me to do a job, the bare minimum that I should be doing is communicating with them about what we're doing, what's happening, what we've accomplished, what we're working on now, and what we're going to do next. The process of providing people with information once they've hired you should be like step number one. But for some reason, our industry just really struggles with it. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with our overall value. They see us collecting big checks with very little effort. And I think it frustrates a lot of people. Now, obviously, the checks that we receive get all cut up between taxes and fees and all of our marketing fees and all that good stuff. But that's a different topic. The point that I want to make here is whether you're a buyer or a seller or an investor, there needs to be a very upfront and honest conversation about what that level of communication should look like. You know, one of my favorite questions to ask somebody is, let's say that we, work together and we help you purchase your new home. How would you define a job really well done? Or let me just, so it's something that I took from kind of a broader tactic, which is, let's say that you're getting interviewed for a job. You're being interviewed. You're not interviewing. One of the best questions that you can ask, because I interview, 3-4 people a week to join my team. And obviously we don't hire everybody that we interview, but one of the questions that was asked to me, the person interviewing them, which I just loved, was, if you were to hire me as an agent on your team, a year from now, let's say everything went perfectly according to plan, how do you define somebody that has really excelled in this role? What qualities do they embody? What does their day-to-day look like? What sort of impact have they had to the company? It's a great question to ask. If you're out in your job hunting, you better ask that question to the person interviewing you. I want to ask that same question to people that I'm working with, whether they're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I want to have an understanding of what they value, because we as agents tend to have this one-size-fits-all kind of dock-in-a-box mentality to working with people. Not everybody values the same thing. If I'm working with somebody and they ask me, well, Brian, why are you different? Why should I hire you? I mean, my response most times is, well, I'm not sure you should hire me. I think I need to understand what you need better in order to determine whether I have the tools to help you. Let's say somebody has had their home on the market, it didn't sell. Maybe they really value communication and handholding and just knowing what's going on several times a week. There are plenty of folks like that we accommodate. Maybe they don't really care to hear from me unless there is news. Maybe they don't really care about the communication side of things at all. They just want to pay a little less in commission and get the deal done and move on with their lives. Maybe they really care about the marketing that we're doing. So many different ways of, understanding what's important to that particular client. We as agents need to be leading that conversation and asking those questions, because at the end of the day, what we're really after here is trust. We want you to trust us with our recommendations. There is no trust, in my opinion, without accountability. So the relationship that you have with your agent is incredibly important. I've put together a list of questions for you to ask a real estate agent if you're going to interview them for either becoming your buyer agent or your listing agent. Investors, I don't have a list of questions for you. I can put that together, or we can just have a conversation about what you're looking for. That might be an interesting exercise to go through. But if you'd like the list of questions to ask a real estate agent, the kind of no holds barred questions that you should be asking, then text the word interview to 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009. That's also my personal cell. I'll reply asking for your name and your email address so I can actually send you this information. So again, text the word interview to 843-400-8009, or you can check us out online at listingsincharleston.com. Stick around for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.